Jesus totally wasn't trying to go live at this very moment, but I clicked the wrong button and we may as well go into this now. We committed here. What's up? This is JB333. Welcome to the Reflections Chat. We are going to be diving deep into the stories shaping our world and explaining and exploring the facts behind the headlines. Today, we're going to be unpacking the findings of the 500-page report released by the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. Super exciting stuff. Obviously, we're not going to read 500 pages worth of stuff, but now we have things that can summarize all this stuff for us. So there's no need to read it. But I don't know. I found this really interesting, and I've been trying to avoid talking about anything related to COVID ever since I had a freaking video basically taken down for talking about it. Me and my co-pilot Ricky had a whole ass video taken down, and it's crazy. Like how many people were silenced, for saying things about COVID, anything related to COVID, anything related to the shot. Like people were literally being silenced. Now you got, Zuckerberg from Facebook coming out and saying that the government was literally pressuring him, to take down these things, regardless of if it was true or not. That's crazy. That this is what conspiracy theorist people were talking about. This is what people, like me were talking about throughout the entire pandemic, is that we were not being told the truth, and since I've known since way before then, before all this, before it became, mainstream to be a conspiracy theory person. Like I've known that stuff ain't right. Stuff ain't right in the world. And they're clearly able to pull the veil over our eyes really, really easily. And it's partly what happened with COVID. And now you got so much confusion in the world that nobody actually knows what is real or what is fake. You post something online and nobody knows whether or not it's true or not. It's crazy to think. But we're going to start today with one of the most debated topics during the pandemic, the origin of the virus. So if you remember what they told us, what did they tell us? The mainstream story was that it came from a bat. Somebody ate like an uncooked bat. I can't remember the exact thing, but it was something to do with it came from a bat. And all of us knew that was some BS. There was a doctor that came out, whistleblower that came out in China that said it was released, accidentally from the lab. All of a sudden that doctor went missing. Tons and tons of people were saying that it was released, from a lab. And they were going to, if anybody remembers, the federal government was going to launch an investigation into that. And then nothing ever happened. Nothing came from that. It just kind of went cold, like, oh, this never even existed. It's just interesting. But the report, this 500-page report, concludes that COVID-19 most likely originated from a lab leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. The evidence, it points to early reports of illnesses amongst researchers at the lab and the gain of function research that was taking place there. The US-based Equal Health Alliance, which helped fund this research, was heavily criticized for its lack of oversight, and the National Institute of Health came under fire for allowing it to happen. This finding has major implications for how we approach international collaborations and research oversight going forward. Like Anthony Fauci was directly involved in the creation of this. They were doing gain of function research. They were modifying viruses. Like most people don't realize the implications of what this means. They were literally modifying viruses. And all of a sudden, accidentally we get a modified virus released to the public and it causes catastrophic global damage and no one is, getting punished for it. We are, because lots of people died, unfortunately. I'm not here to debate whether or not COVID was real, because obviously it was real, but because I know people that died from it. I had friends who lost their mom. I had friends that lost their aunt, uncles, etc. Like it really happened. But the fact is, no one is getting punished for the fact that this was created in a lab and released, and it's crazy. we're just expected to accept that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna watch just a short video on this.
Brad Wenstrup released a 520-page final report concluding the virus most likely emerged from a laboratory in Wuhan, China. Rob, if you want to go ahead and play this clip. Is the clip you have with Rogan, or is it a...
It is. Rogan's discussing the findings of the House Select Committee.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and play the clip.
The House released a 500-page report on COVID-19 pandemic. Key findings: COVID-19 likely originated from a lab-related incident in Wuhan, China. Crazy. You get banned from YouTube for saying that. Banned. Okay,
Right.
Over $200 billion in relief funds lost to fraud, with criminals exploiting.
That's crazy. That's another part of this. Like, I have the link open for the other thing. You can Google this right now, though. Like, you can go on the just Google the 500-page report, the House Select Committee. You can literally look up, read all this for yourself. It's not a conspiracy theory nonsense anymore. This is quite literally, facts that they found. So let's move on to the measures taken to combat the spread of the virus. Here's another thing. It's a really hot button issue: masking, right? How many people are saying masking works, masking doesn't work? And it comes to find out there was no actual science to support that masking did anything to help out with COVID. But let's read this, what it says right here. Mask mandates, for example, were found to be largely ineffective. Lockdowns. The report argues they did more harm than good, damaging the economy, public health, and even children's development. So one of the things it says that was good is international travel restrictions. This is one thing that I thought of in the very beginning. Like, we were so concerned about stopping the spread of the virus, but we were allowing people to travel internationally. We were allowing people still get on planes. You had to separate, freaking 6 feet from each other in line and wear masks and all this stuff, but you were still able to get on the plane. That, like, they were so concerned about it, but God forbid we lose money on air travel. God forbid people don't go to Walmart. But yes, stay 6 feet apart, which is another thing that we're going to find out here that they concluded did absolutely nothing. And what did Fauci say is that, like, it was like a ridiculous statement that he made on that. Like, it just came up somewhere or something like that. But the more I read on this, the more, distrust I feel for the National Institute of Health, the freaking federal, all these medical industries. Like, people, what this did was damage public trust in the medical industries. Like, no one believes anything the government is telling us anymore. No one believes anything. There's so many more anti-vax people than there ever was in history now because of this. And it's crazy. I don't know. Let's see where we're at here. I was trying to record this video, but apparently I'm a little special and can't figure out how to record using this browser. I'll have to have somebody show me, but all right. So talking about the impact on education was significant. The report highlighted how school closures led to major learning losses and increased mental health challenges. For sure. Like, I remember all the kids going to online school, and like, it basically has turned everybody antisocial. Like, online school can be good, but obviously the social aspects of school are important. So the report takes aim at international organizations like the World Health Organization. It criticizes the WHO for failing to hold China accountable and claims that critical early information about the virus was withheld. Damn, how did I skip this whole part? Another focus of the report is how the U.S. managed vaccine development. On the positive side, Operation Warp Speed was a huge success. Vaccines were developed in record time. That was the other thing that is a really hot button issue, because there was, a lot of people like me, I don't feel that there was nearly enough testing. They either knew this was going to get released way ahead of time and started creating a vaccine, or they just threw this out there without testing it. And you can go to the CDC website. I was keeping track of it for a long time. I used to argue with people online about it all the time. The amount of deaths that were attributed to the COVID vaccine is pretty staggering across the world now. Just read or watched a video earlier that talked about how like it's in the millions of people have died from getting the COVID vaccine. That's crazy. I'm now that I said that, I'm probably going to get my video taken down. But honestly, it's online data now. You can look it up. But it's crazy that would be the case, that people would literally die from getting the vaccine. Like, never in my life have I been anti-vax. Most people are not anti-vax. Being against something like the flu shot, being against something like the COVID shot does not make you anti-vax. You're able to make informed decisions without being called a lunatic. And that's what happened during COVID. If you said you were against this vaccine, people were losing their jobs. People were, you couldn't go to a freaking concert without showing proof of a vaccine card. That's the craziest thing ever. I still cannot believe that. And it's just something to vent about, because this is something that we had to live with. This is something we had to deal with. And when we get this freaking report that's saying that, the 6 foot social distancing didn't do any good, masking didn't do any good. And yet we were literally forced to wear it. You couldn't go in the airport. I couldn't go to work without wearing a mask. It's crazy. I don't know. Excuse me. Let's see. There was a lot of tons and tons of like funds mismanagement, tons of fraud going on during COVID. People were using, COVID money for, what is it? Where is it at? I had it all written down here, but it's all gone now. So mask mandates, ineffective, lockdowns, social distancing, which is the most ridiculous thing. We had the freaking arrows on the ground, little X's on the ground. Vaccine mandates, arguing this argued that the 500-page report argued that vaccine mandates eroded public trust and contributed to vaccine hesitancy. Again, nobody was anti-vax before this, but when you're not able to say, hey, I want to see more information, like, you're immediately called a conspiracy theorist. You're immediately called anti-vax, and that, like, there's people saying you need to be locked up into internment camps if you didn't get the COVID vaccine. That's crazy. Like, I don't get the freaking flu shot vaccine every year, or the flu vaccine every year. And I haven't had the flu in I don't know how many years. And if I do get the flu, I get the flu. Like, I'm not going to get the shot. You know what I mean? It's crazy that some places force you to get the flu shot. Like where my sister works, they force her to get the flu shot every year. But again, it's crazy to think that people were literally, people are forced to get it. And some people say nobody was forced, but that's not true. Because if you have to choose your livelihood or getting a shot, you got kids to feed, mouths to feed, like, obviously you got to do what you got to do. But it's a thing. So the idea that it eroded public trust, absolutely. I'm going to watch a little bit more of this video real quick.
Weak oversight, prolonged lockdowns and arbitrary mandates cause severe harm, economic devastation, mental health crises, and historic learning loss, while lacking robust scientific support. Policies ignored natural immunity, pushing mandates that eroded trust and harmed public perception of science. Absolutely. WHO and CDC compromised by political interference, offering inconsistent, unscientific guidance that fueled public distrust. And the key players included federal agencies, and Cuomo's administration actively obstructed oversight efforts and hid critical evidence.
Christ.
Select subcommittee on coronavirus pandemic basically said all the conspiracy theorists were correct. Every single
wild.
one of them. No repercussions.
wild.
No
Go ahead,
retractions.
And did you hear that?
No,
And Chuck, did you guys hear that? He said even federal agencies and Cuomo's administration actively obstructed oversight efforts, and hid critical evidence. That's from just the ground level.
Bro, that's crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. Crazy. Like, that's the same thing the cat from Facebook is saying. Like, they were coming up and making them take down videos. Of course, I think that freaking Zuckerberg is now just saying this to save his ass because Trump is in office and he doesn't want to get taken down or arrested, whatever. I don't know. He's all of a sudden changing his tune, but we all know whose side. I think he just, whoever's in office, he's gonna, choke on a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm getting at there, but I think you see what I'm saying. He's gonna suck up to whoever's in office. But anyway, I'm gonna watch a little bit more of this.
Fauci is the head. He's been around for how many presidencies? And Trek, I'm telling you, brother to brother, you have to read this book because only then you'll get the context of who this freaking demon is. And I'm not one of these people. So Trek, for the left to say, oh, you guys want him to arrest. And what has the left been doing? Think of all the shit they've done to him with weaponizing the FBI, Obama spying on his freaking campaign, Russian collusion, all the lawfare, the 2 fake impeachments, shooting him in his freaking head. And the other side is talking shit like,
wasn't aware it was going to get political, but we should have known that, I guess. But I'm going to stop it right there. Stop it right there. I don't want people thinking here I'm a Trump lover, because that's not the case. I am not a political dude by any means, and people tend to get, if you play a little bit of a video, you're automatically, sided with one side or the other, and that's silly. And that's one of the other problems that's gone on since COVID, is that like the polarization from left to right has gone so far out of control that like people hate each other for just nonsense. Like people are unfriending each other for political stupid. It's stupid to me, but I don't know. That's not me. I'm not a political dude, but I will, I like that they highlighted a lot of what this report is talking about. The other thing I wanted to mention is the freaking there was apparently today there was a plane crash in Philadelphia too. So the other day there was a plane crash into the Black Hawk helicopter. A lot of people lost their lives, and like I've been trying to avoid conspiracies, but they have popped up left and right. And now today another plane has crashed. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, I don't know. I'm trying not to think that things are happening on purpose, but tend to be a bit of a conspiracy guy. So the key takeaway of this report, the whole COVID-19 report, is that I think that it serves out a wake-up call. It highlights the mistakes made during the COVID-19 pandemic, but more importantly, it offers a roadmap for how we can do better in the future. From improving transparency and oversight to better equipping public health agencies, there's a lot we can learn. So will we take these lessons to heart? Who knows? Like, the fact is, ain't nobody out here going to believe the public health agencies anymore. Nobody is going to accept another random vaccine that they pump to the public. Like, no one is probably going to even believe that there's another virus that comes out. It seems like now we got every other month, we got something. We got monkeypox. We got, freaking random, what is this, the bird flu now? Like, there's just something random all the time. What was different about COVID is that it was obviously a man-made virus. This thing was like highly transmissible. It's only affected, people who were immunocompromised, elderly. Like, they made us believe that it was going to kill us. And that's part of the reason why I think that more people, like, as soon as they stopped talking about it in the news, as soon as they stopped talking about that it's going to kill you, people started getting better. People started, you could say it was because of the vaccine. I personally believe that COVID was more like the flu. We ended up getting a lot more herd immunity. Like, if the COVID vaccine really did something, you wouldn't need 6 freaking boosters. Like, there's still people out there getting boosters, and that to me is wild. If you're not, at risk, if you're, not an at-risk person, there's no reason for you to be getting 8 boosters. It's crazy to me. But again, to each their own. People are going to do what they're going to do. But was there somebody in the chat? I didn't even see. My bad, bro. Tribalism. Oh, hey, I feel to see you out here, bro. What's up? Tribalism in regards to what? I'm pretty sure we're talking about politics here, but what the hell was I going to say? We got lost in the sauce. I'm talking about code, man. I'm fucking lost. I'm getting tired here. But about out of stuff here. That was pretty much what I wanted to chat about. That, like, the takeaways from that are pretty much what I said. By all means, jump online, go to, I believe it's oversight.house.gov, and you can read the whole 500-page report. They summarize it even in there. Obviously, take the time to learn about it, because if you don't take the time to learn about this, they're going to be able to do this crap again to you. And just know that not everything you see online is the truth. As soon as somebody starts saying it's the left or it's the right, like, you're being manipulated. You can't, it's not one side or the other. Okay. Like, they are trying to push us against each other. That is the grand conspiracy. You can't be a real conspiracy theorist and believe that one side or the other is the answer. Like, obviously one is leaning more towards fascism and then the other, but which one is that? Because the left sometimes calls the right fascist and vice versa. But I personally believe that if you look at everything through the lens of a political party, that's all you're ever going to see. But anyway, hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to just sign off here before I start rambling about ignorance. Much love.